You don't need designer right now. Like, I know when I was at uni, there was like a bit of a culture, or there was a trend where people, like some people did wear a lot of designers, drove nice cars and things like that. And like, obviously you may look at them and be like, oh, I like that, I want that. As a university student, I don't believe that should be a priority. And also the people that you see like buying things like that, you don't know how they obtained them, you don't know if it's legit. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So last week I spoke about like practical saving tips that we as adults can all be implementing in our, so-called adulting journeys, things that will help us be better with money management and also just like saving, as the title said. But in today's video, I want to look at practical money saving tips from the angle of students. Now, I know that a lot of the tips that I covered in last week's video will be also like actionable to students, but I just wanted to come at it from more of a focused angle in terms of like, student living, because it is quite different to when you're in like full swing adult mode and like, you're sort of used to like managing money and, doing normal day-to-day things, whereas as a student you're sort of just getting started with that way of life. So yeah, in this video I just want to zoom in a little bit more and focus on students, because I feel like this kind of information is most relevant at that sort of point when you start really like managing your own money and dealing with money. So anyway, uni life. I graduated back in 2014, which is actually like 7 years ago, which sounds crazy, like a lifetime ago, but regardless I still remember it. I have loads of memories of uni, good ones, bad ones, but regardless, like I loved it, I enjoyed the experience, and I did take away a lot from the experience. I feel like at university is when I really got to grips with like having good money management. That's why I started to like implement certain principles which has sort of set pace for me and sort of like put me in a better position now, like in the future, in my adulting years. So yeah, as I said, my time at uni was like really fun, really good experience overall. Like I really treasured those times. But when it came to like the financing aspect, especially in terms of like, student finance, my grants, like I did not get much at all. My student finance only covered my student accommodation and my rent when I started to rent out a place with like friends. But aside from that, my grant literally maybe like gave me the allowance to be able to get like basic food stuff, and it didn't even cover me for the whole term. So really and truly, if I was just relying on that finance alone, I really would have been in a sticky situation. And also, if I didn't develop good like money management skills, it would have been even worse. Thankfully, I was working like part-time jobs here and there, agency work and temping, and I also had my parents to support me, which is really good. But yeah, developing good money management skills was really key at university, and I just want to share in this video like basically some tips that you can implement if you're at university currently, if you're in a situation whereby student finance is not paying you well, or even if student finance are paying you well and maybe you even have a part-time job and things like that. It's still really good to get a good grip on your money management, because these are the kind of skills, like life skills, that you actually need to see you through. It's easy to make money, but what's more important is really how you retain it and maximize what you have. So without any further ado, let's get into the video and talk about the practical saving tips that I have for university students. Tip number one, set up a lifetime ISA. Now I know technically this is not actually a saving tip, but it's a tip that is going to boost any savings that you do have. Why is this? Because a lifetime ISA is basically an ISA that helps you save towards your first home or towards retirement. So basically the government will give you a 25% bonus on top of whatever you save in that account each year. So if you save up to like I think £4,000 in a year, they'll give you £1,000 as that 25% bonus, which is amazing. So imagine if you continuously save that amount in a lifetime ISA, like imagine how much money you have at the end. Whether you wanted to put it towards your first property, or maybe like property is not your aspiration, having that money towards like your retirement is going to be great by the time that you get there. Tip number two is budgeting. Now budgeting is like literally is the it's really what ties everything together. Like you need to be able to budget. So when you get paid your student finance, your grant, your pay from your part-time job or whatever it is, you need to make sure that you budget. So essentially you're going to need a budget tracker, and also maybe like an account like Monzo, which will allow you to like create different pots for different things, so that when you get paid any money, first of all you distinguish, okay, this is the money that I need for my accommodation, for my rent. Secondly, this is the money that I need to eat, for the month or for whatever period it is. And thirdly, this is the amount that I'm going to be able to save for this money and, stick to it. And then fourth can be money that you're going to spend on like, enjoying yourself, entertainment, going out, eating out, buying clothes if that's your thing. Whatever it may be, you just want to proportion that money out ahead of time. Now, I know this may sound like a bit of a downer, because it's like, at uni is the time when you should really be living your best life, enjoying yourself, being a bit carefree. I get it, but at the same time, we do want to do it with a bit of caution and make sure that you're establishing good like habits, because if you start off on the wrong foot, you're using money wrongly, you have bad saving habits, these are the kind of traits that you're going to carry into your adult years, and like you really don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be somebody that's in debt because you have poor money management skills. If you don't currently have a budget tracker, I'm going to link my personal one in the description box, and then you can go ahead and download that if you want to. Tip number 3 is not to use overdraft unnecessarily. I always advise people, like, don't use your overdraft unless you really need to, like unless it's an emergency. As soon as you're able to, you want to make sure that you pay that money. I know as a student, the overdraft accounts are usually like interest free, and so they don't charge you any extra money for borrowing, but yeah, it's not a good thing to have. If you do not manage overdrafts properly, like it could really affect your credit in future, and you don't want that. So when it comes to making, you know, bigger purchases, taking out loans, you may be rejected because your credit is poor because, you know, you had overdraft issues. So yeah, overdraft like only if you need it. I just feel like overdrafts really do not encourage a mentality of saving, but rather like living beyond your means, and that's not what you want to be doing. You want to be earning a lot more than you spend, because really that's the way to like sustain a sort of like good, balanced, comfortable life where like you're not stressed out by, you know, external forces and pressures, if that makes any sense. Tip number 4, accommodation costs. Now this is something I'm going to tread on like quite lightly, because I feel like, well, for me personally, when I was in university, my first year in halls, I got ensuite accommodation, just because like it was my first time living outside of my family home. I don't know anyone, so I don't really want to be sharing a bathroom with you and things like that. Like the idea it just made me really uncomfortable. So I kind of feel like that's fair enough. But when you do move on to like second year and beyond, obviously it's more like, you know, the standard to obviously get shared accommodation, whether it's a shared house or flats with your friends, like you're going to get shared accommodation. But the warning here is basically like, don't then go and do the most. So I know like back at uni, a couple of people that I knew went on to get like professional standard like properties, so like flats that, you know, professionals in the area would rent out, and obviously they're going to be pricier. So what I'm saying to you today is basically like, I think you just want to really think about whether it's worth you spending much more money to get like a professional standard flat rather than getting standard like uni student accommodation. The reason I say that is because like you could really use the money towards other things. Even if you're not going to be saving that extra money towards your future, you could just use that money in the here and now. So whether it's for your groceries or using the extra money that you may have been spending on accommodation, or maybe just like even having fun, so having more money to go to your budgets for like going out and enjoying yourself, entertainment, things like that, to really enjoy your uni experience the more. I think it's just more worthwhile and a better decision to make. But hey, that's me. But I think, yeah, accommodation is another area where you could really save money as a student. My next tip again is around accommodation. So it's basically about going all inclusive with your bills when you get a property. So again, from second year onwards, when it comes to getting a property, you want to get something that says all inclusive. So all your bills, water, gas, everything is included in the rent that you're going to pay your landlord. I say this because at least then you can actually like budget for your expenses. So really, you know how much each and every month you need to live. So in your house, you know, like, you know, the rent's going to be covered, or the bill's going to be covered, everything's going to be covered, and you would have accounted for it beforehand, rather than if you don't do all inclusive and really you receive bills each and every month and maybe it's increasing month on month, and you know, you sort of have no control over it. Like, I just think as a student, it's better to have all inclusive. My next practical saving tip for you is to get a student rail card. So like getting a rail card is so key, especially if you go to a university out in the Midlands, or basically just like a distance away from where you would call home usually. So yeah, getting a rail card literally could save you hundreds over the course of like your, you know, your university course over 3-4 years, whatever it may be. During my time at uni, having a rail card really helped me to save like quite a lot of money, especially where like outside of traveling to and from like my family house, I also traveled a lot for like work. So I was doing like agency work, you know, like promotional staff type work. So I used to travel to different like cities near my university city as well. So yeah, it really helped me having a rail card because, you know, tickets were a lot cheaper. The next tip that I have for you is to make the most of student perks. So like freebies, discounts for students. You really want to make the most of them. So I'm not just talking about uni days. Obviously uni days is great, but outside of that, like students can even have access to like free Microsoft products, which is obviously like great because at uni like you're going to be doing a lot of work on your, you know, laptop, computer. Outside of that, you can also get like 6 months worth of like Amazon Prime. My younger sister had that actually when she was at uni, and I even benefited from that. So like things like that will make your life easier and help you save on like everyday things. Like you definitely want to get involved in those. I'm going to put a couple of links in the description box to where you can access some of those student perks if you don't know already. The next tip that I have for you is to commit to an amount that you're going to save each and every month. So whether it's £20 a month or £50 a month, like it all adds up in a year. So £20 a month would be like £240 at the end of the year, which is good. And then £50 a month would be like £600 at the end of the year. So again, really good. So yeah, just decide on a figure for yourself and then just commit to it. That's a really good way to build a steady, like sustainable relationship with saving and making sure that, you know, it's something that you commit to doing like all the time. The next tip that I have for you is to have a no spend day each and every week. So literally, like imagine any little thing that you could spend money on a daily basis. So let's say you went out, you got thirsty, bought a drink, you know, snacks along the way, like no spending, literally. I'd say only spend on travel if you must, but if you can walk or you can avoid paying for transport, definitely make that the option. But yeah, have a no spend day each and every week. It really will help. My next tip for you actually ties in with the previous one, and it's sort of along the same lines of like no spending unnecessarily. So yeah, basically buy yourself one of those cute cups that you can hold your own drinks in. So if you're someone that likes to like buy hot drinks, rather than going to Costa, Starbucks, wherever it is that you buy your hot drinks, make your hot drinks from home and carry it into university or wherever you're going in your own like keep cup. Like it's gonna save you so much more money. The same thing with water actually. If you're out there buying water from a shop every single day, it's gonna add up. So again, why not buy your own cube cup and then carry your own water with you from home? Again, you'll save a lot of money. The next practical tip that I have for you is to shop around for your groceries. So you don't need to buy every single item from the same store. Like some places are cheaper for buying certain things. So if it's like your meat, your chicken, fish that you're looking to buy, you may find that going to an Aldi or Lidl or even an Asda may be cheaper than going to your Tesco or Sainsbury's. You want to identify what's good for each thing and then stick to that. Again, going back to Aldi or Lidl, if you have any of those nearby, definitely make those your first option. Even if like Sainsbury's is literally next door and then maybe the Lidl or Aldi is like maybe 5 minutes further down the road, like make that extra 5 minutes because it's going to be so worthwhile. They're so much cheaper, food is just as good, things are just as fresh, but you're just saving yourself more money as a student. The next tip that I have for you is to cook 90% of the time. I think, yeah, 90% is fair. So cook a lot more of the time. Leave takeaways and eating out to like, you know, treats for yourself. It's not an everyday thing. If you know you're going to be too tired to like cook after lectures, after uni, then you want to plan ahead of time to cook so that, you know, you have food ready when you get home so that you can eat. So that you're not thinking about, oh, I'm so hungry, I'm tired, I can't bother to cook, so I need to get a takeaway. No, you want to avoid those kind of situations and plan ahead. The next tip that I have for you is to create food shopping lists so that basically when you go out, you're not just walking around the shop, you know, seeing what your eyes can catch, because that is the way to really end up overspending on things that you really don't need and may probably go to waste as well. You want to create a food shopping list based on like your meal prep, like what you know you're going to eat in the week, and then buy those things in and out of the shop quickly. Also, you might want to shop on a weekly basis rather than going in like, you know, every single day, because again, if you're going every single day, likelihood is that you're going to increase how much you're spending on food just because like it's just naturally what's going to happen. Next tip that I have for you, again on the subject of food, not all your food items have to be branded, okay? Like sometimes buy the store brand. Tastes just as good, just as fresh, but it's just, you know, the store brand name rather than like, you know, your Heinz or your whatever. Now, I'm not saying that certain things, you know, you have to go and buy the shop brand. No, like Heinz ketchup is like #1. I like it myself. But yeah, just certain things, like, you know what I'm talking about. It's not everything that has to be a name brand. Cereals even, like if I'm buying cornflakes, like I'm not gonna go and buy Kellogg's. Like that's just me, and I don't really feel like I'm missing out on much. But you know, each their own. But yeah, not every single thing has to be a name brand. The next tip that I have for you is to use loyalty reward cards and like cashback apps and accounts. So currently my favorite loyalty reward card is Tesco, just because it's so easy to go into the shop, get your points, and easily they transferred over to like money off vouchers, which I found really helpful. The other day I had a £4 voucher, and to be honest, it was really helpful for me. It all really adds up. As well as that, with Tesco you get like membership prices as well in store, which I really like. So rather than paying maybe like £2.50 for something, as a member you might get it for like, I don't know, £1.50, or yeah, around that. So I think, yeah, definitely using loyalty cards is a great way to save money. The next tip that I have for you is to go SIM only if you can. Now, nowadays, like I'm tired of it all really. So I'm due for an upgrade next month. But I've said to myself, I'm not gonna upgrade. I'm gonna keep my phone. I've got an iPhone 10s. It works fine. Camera's great. It does everything that I need to do. And literally, I'm not gonna go and spend like how much more for an upgrade when literally there's no new features with the phone anyway. Like, and I verified that with my friend because she's got the latest iPhone. Yeah, like getting the latest phones and all that kind of stuff, literally you can add so much more to like your cost on a monthly basis. Go SIM only where you can. You can save so much more money. And yeah, I just think it's the way forward really. The next practical tip that I have for you, now this is going to even take you beyond uni, but it's basically if you get a pay increase or you're making more money, it doesn't mean that you should now up your spending to match that. No, actually you want to challenge yourself to save more and be more productive with your money. So yeah, if you're working a part-time job, you're doing more overtime, don't start spending like crazy because you know you've worked hard. Yeah, obviously treat yourself because you have worked. But at the same time, don't go and spend all the money like frivolously. That's a really easy way that a lot of people get caught out. And really, like, it's just one of the ways that is sure to lead to failure when it comes to money management and sort of, you know, keeping wealth. So yeah, don't necessarily increase your expenses just because you have more money coming in. It's really a gradual thing. Like, your incoming should always be a lot higher than your outgoings. Practical tip number 18, I believe it's number 18 anyway. You don't need designer right now. Like, I know when I was at uni, there was like a bit of a culture, or there was a trend where people, like some people did wear a lot of designers, drove nice cars and things like that. And like, obviously you may look at them and be like, oh, I like that, I want that. But everything in its time, like as a university student, I don't believe that should be a priority. And also the people that you see like buying things like that, you don't know how they obtained them. You don't know if it's legit. I'm not gonna go into that, but yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, as a student, I just feel like unless you're from a really like well-off family, you've got the money, or you were gifted the nice luxury designer item, then I don't really feel like that should be your focus. Your focus should be more on sort of like getting through uni, like being a student, you know, that kind of lifestyle. Like, nice designer things will come later in life, but you just want to focus at this point on sort of setting yourself up right, having those good foundations when it comes to like maximizing your money. Do not be swayed by seeing other people do certain things. Like, stick in your own like budget, do what's good for you, and yeah, literally just watch yourself flourish really. The next practical tip that I have for you is to review your car insurance each and every year. So like, if you're a driver, make sure that you review your insurance. It's such a great way to save like loads of money, even hundreds. That was definitely the case for me when I reviewed mine this year. So I've been with the same insurance provider for like the past, I think 2 or 3 years, just because each year I went back to them and I said, oh, you know, why is my premium not reduced? And they kept on reducing it, giving me discounts. But this year I just really found that, you know, other providers out there were offering a lot less, even like a couple hundred less. So yeah, I definitely made that switch and I'm smiling for it. Like, car insurance is such a great way to save a whole load of money. And now the final tip that I have for you is to price match everything. So if you see something that you want to buy, this is outside of food, it could be electrics, it could be clothing even, it could be anything, household items. If you see it somewhere, try and price match. Try and see if you can find it somewhere else alternatively and it's going to be cheaper for you. Or if it's something that's a bit of a pricier item that you need, literally price match. So maybe you saw it in Argos, you could go to Tesco, say, okay, yeah, I've seen it for this much there, do you price match, and see what they say. Like, you just want to keep your eyes out for ways that you can save yourself a little bit of money, you know, each and every time. Once you start doing these things, it'll become second nature, and it won't seem like a drag or like, oh, like, you know, it's sucking all the fun out of life and stuff like that. Like, no, literally becomes a lifestyle. And I feel like saving is really a habit that you need to cultivate early on. Like, it's not just going to happen overnight. You need to make sure that you're setting yourself up to be saving and budgeting, like, you know, for the future, for life. Like, it's just the way to do things. Again, that's the real way to like build wealth, retain wealth, and like just maximize what you have. So yeah, I hope you find this video useful. If you have done, please do give it a thumbs up, and please do also let me know of any other saving tips that you have that maybe I haven't mentioned in this video. And also, if you have any other video ideas, topics that you'd like me to cover, please do let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure that I do that. So thank you for watching. Again, I hope you find it useful, and I'll catch you later. Bye.